I just watched it for the second time today. I have these amazing guests on. We have the director Lee Esposito, also the writer.
Hi.
Lee, how are you?
Good. I'm doing pretty well.
And you're joined by two beautiful women, Nell Kessler and Savannah Witten, the stars of the movie. Ladies,
Mhm.
welcome. Nell, how's Brooklyn treating you over there?
Thank you so much for having me. It's awesome. We've got a nice thunderstorm going, so perfect ambiance for right now.
I'm sorry, you're in Connecticut right now, right? But
Right now, but thunderstorming probably there too.
It's
and
coming. It's on
Savannah,
the way.
Yeah.
Savannah, how are you tonight? Everything good? You don't have a
Good.
guy, you don't have anybody tied up in the back or anything right now, do you?
No, not this
What's
time.
happening,
No.
right?
Yeah, it's thunderstorming here too. It's just crazy tonight, but I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
All right. Well, let's get into the movie. Lilith is a movie about a succubus, and Jenna has boy problems. And I was as I'm watching this movie, I'm wondering if this could really happen, how many men would die horrible, horrible deaths by breaking so many
Yeah.
hearts. Yes, I love the film. I thought it had a really good balance. I mean, it wasn't necessarily scary, if I mean, obviously there's scary situations here, but I thought the comedy was fun. The gore was great. The makeup was Savannah, your makeup was amazing. Very cool. I laughed. I felt I connected well with the characters. It was well shot. It was written well. The characters just connecting with each other. The main three. Um, it was great. So Lee, I guess I'll start with you. Congratulations on the film. And also, I know that you wrote the film. So I just wanted to ask, where did this idea come from? I know that we've seen so many renditions of a succubus character, right? And I just never had so much fun watching a film based on a succubus character than what you've given us. So thank you.
Oh Lord. First of all, thank you for like everything of what you just said. That was
It's a lot, man.
so incredibly kind. I am floored. So thank you. I'm really glad you liked it. As far as like where it came from, so the movie Pumpkinhead,
Yeah.
strangely enough, I mean, it puts forth this idea of like, oh, there's a demon for every one of mankind's evils or something, and then they never did anything with that as far as the Pumpkinhead films go. And that's kind of where my brain started, and then it was like just kind of playing with all these ideas of like, oh, what could I do with like this sort of thing. And eventually I was like, oh, a lust demon would be kind of cool. And then I was like, it started as a total like schlocky Evil Dead-esque, like, I don't care, the dialogue is intentionally garbage, like that sort of thing. And then as I was writing it fleshed out and turned into something that kind of took on a life of its own. And I mean, especially once the cast came together, I mean, I think we get I'd like to think we came up with something really special here.
No, I think you did. I mean, you like I said before, I mean, this a tale of this demon has been told so many different ways. But I think when you put it in Savannah's character in this setting, with these, essentially teenage college teens, or was it high school? It was college. Sorry, college. And you put that in an environment with the frat parties, and she's just trying to fit in. Savannah, I loved your character. I thought that I'm and I hope you don't take this to offense, but I am a sucker for a redhead, so I fell in love with you right away. But I thought that it was funny. It kind of, and this is going to sound like a weird comparison. I just felt like I was watching like a horror version of Clueless. I don't know why, just with the characters and whatnot, and I don't know why. It was so funny, and Savannah's just trying to fit in after she does the job she's supposed to do right away. Doesn't waste any time. And so, Savannah, how did you get involved in this film? You read the script, and what were you thinking? How did you get involved in this?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, thank you so much for that comparison. Clueless is one of my favorite films, so that is awesome. My day is made. Well, I actually just come out of acting school and I saw that Lee was casting the proof of concept. So I actually shot the proof of concept as Lilith, and then a year later, I got the call from Lee, like, hey, it's funded for doing it. Would you like to come back as Lilith? And of course, it was like, oh my gosh, yes, she's such a fun character. And that was like the happiest surprise. So yeah, we were there, I guess a year before actual production started. I knew Lee, which was really cool.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, about a year to the day almost.
Yeah.
Maybe like a month off. I don't know.
So now your character is obviously goes through a lot, and everybody's been there. If you've been in a relationship, you suffer through heartbreak, and unfortunately you walk right in to the action, if I may. And we feel for your character right away. And like I said, everybody's been there, not so much as Jenna, but how did you get involved in the role? What made you accept this role?
Yeah, I went to acting school with Taylor Turner, the inimitable Taylor Turner, who plays Charlie in the movie.
Love
And
him.
he had, I know, he's incredible. He had found the project, I think, just online through casting sites, through Backstage, and they had still yet to find somebody to play Jenna. So he recommended a few people. And as soon as I read the script, I was really, really excited. As actors, we audition for a lot of stuff where we might get audition sides that there's just not much to dig into. But there was a lot to dig into with these sides. And I remember in the audition sides, there was nothing about the stab moment, shall we say, at the end.
Yeah.
So before I accepted the role, I got on a Zoom call with Lee, and he was like, just so you know, this is how it ends. And I was like, I'm all in. Let's do it.
Yeah, the stabbing scene. Yes, that was. I mean, how else are you going to get rid of a succubus?
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
You got to do what you got to do. You got to take one for the team. Listen, I really truly have so many questions, and I love my partner in crime, Muse, here. So I'm going to pass it to her because I know I get in trouble every time, and I ask all these questions. And we've been really lucky to get such wonderful, beautiful actors, I should say, on in a row here, because last week we had this, and Chris was drooling. Now I'm drooling, so I'm gonna calm myself down. I'm gonna pass the torch over to Muse, and I'm gonna let her ask some questions. But I'll be back later.
Hey, all right. Yeah, Ken usually steals a lot of my questions. So he was like, I'm going to give Muse a break this week and throw her a bone. So yeah, I'm excited to talk to you guys. This was such a fun movie. So I'm going to jump right in. I loved your chemistry all throughout the movie as well. I was like, I kind of felt like you guys definitely knew each other before this. So I'm not surprised that Nell had went to college with Taylor. So I really felt that you guys either had worked on projects together or, had known each other previously, because I didn't see acting here. I saw just, a lot of authenticity and sincerity between the characters. I could see, me saying the same things to some of my friends. So I felt like there was like a lot of realism. So the writing was great. Your guys' acting was on point as well. And like I said, it was really awesome. And I really got into it even more because of that, because of the chemistry. And I really liked you guys. Like my husband is like on the couch. He wasn't watching with me because he's not a big horror fan. And yeah, I throw him under the bus every time, but I have to do it. But he was like laughing out loud at some of the lines. I think Robin's character was one of the characters he was laughing at too. Some of the lines and stuff are great. There's a lot of good tongue-in-cheek comedy in this one too, and not like slapstick or anything, but like some really great one-liners back and forth between the friends. And I've seen myself saying stuff like this to my friends. So that was great. But I'm gonna start with Lee, and I'm gonna ask him. What sorts of research? I've always been fascinated about the mythology behind Lilith, and I really felt like you had really done your homework on this. And I was interested to know what kind of research you had done and where you had got all of your information in creating her character, writing her character.
So, I mean, it's interesting because there was definitely research done, but I did all the research and then I chucked 90% of it out the window. And I was like, I'm going to cherry pick the bits and pieces that I like, because I mean, the Lilith that we're dealing with in the movie, and I mean, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to say, is not directly the biblical Lilith. It's she's there's a connection there, but she's not the one from lore. So I wanted to have enough in there to play with, like those illusions, but I also wanted to have the freedom to make her own character, because I didn't want to be bound by any of the I didn't want the mythology behind like the biblical Lilith to bind me too much when it came to like writing out Lily as she is, because she's very much she's a hurricane of a character. I've said it before. She's very much not what you'd expect from an ancient demon.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to hang out with her at points. I kind of felt bad. I was like, "Oh, you guys are gonna stare." Okay, she did kill your boyfriend, but yeah, I get it. But you know,
Savannah and I have been saying forever, Lily did nothing wrong.
Right, she's doing what she does, you know. And I kind of felt I felt like almost bad for her at point. I know it might sound strange to people because they're like, oh, okay, but you know, I really liked her character, and she had a likability. All the characters did, and you wanted to kind of like, you know, go hang out with them, you know, sit around and you know, and just goof around, be silly with them, you know, and so yeah, I really liked her character, and I know she was the demon, you know, the succubus, but she had a likable quality to her. And I like I said, I don't know how that's going to sound to everybody else, but I liked her, and I loved all the characters. So I wanted to ask you about the design of Lilith as well. The makeup was fantastic. I loved the design of her makeup and her costume. So where did that come from? Because I'm curious as to what you're going to say, because you mentioned Pumpkinhead, which I was like, I had my microphone on mute, but I was like, yes, I'm a huge fan of that movie. So yeah, where did inspiration for Lilith come from?
Design wise, as far as her design goes, I definitely think there was just a lot of things in my subconscious that all came out, and I was like, I can make this a monster of some sort. I mean, the horn braids were definitely from Star Wars, like without even realizing it.
I love it. Yeah.
And I mean, I must have picked it up from somewhere because I've never seen the movie, but I think Species was probably an inspiration, like from just me like absorbing it through however I picked it up, because I still to this day have not seen that movie and I've been meaning to, but I definitely think there was some inspiration in there from her design as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, my husband was like, when I was telling him what the movie was about, he was like, it sounds kind of like Species a little bit. I was like, well, she's a succubus, she's a demon, and I think that's an alien. I honestly have never seen that movie all the way through either. I know I'm going to get booed for that, so don't feel bad. I know they're booing me, but it looks like a great movie, but it did have that kind of feel to it when I was reading about what it was about, and she does prey on these guys and stuff like that. So I'm going to switch to Savannah for a second, and Nell, and I wanted to start with Savannah and ask her what challenges did you face playing the character of Lilith? What were your biggest challenges?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think I definitely wanted to make her an empathetic character, because I think she is, but she's also a demon. So it was sort of, I don't know, finding that balance between being evil, but also being relatable and likable, hopefully.
Yes.
So that was definitely one. The makeup was also a challenge, but a very fun challenge. Let's see, I think the first day we did the effects makeup, it took 6 hours to get it all done, and maybe like 4 hours to take it off. So that was very cool, but definitely something new to work with. Just like trying not to touch certain things because you'll get green handprints on the wall, and don't touch your eyes, you're wearing contacts, that kind of thing. But it was a very interesting, fun challenge.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was like, I knew it was you immediately. I could tell by the eyes. And I love that you were, because I was like, you know, is she going to play the demon as well as the human form? And I love that you played both, because that is some serious commitment. There's a lot of work that goes into that. And like you said, it takes a long time. And sometimes it can be kind of uncomfortable for sure. But you did great. It was fantastic. I loved it. All right.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Now, what sorts of challenges did you face as the Jenna character?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for all the super, super kind things that you've said about our performance and our chemistry. That's really high praise to hear. Thank you so much. Most of the challenges I faced, I would be going through it, and then I would look at Savannah in hour 4 of her makeup process, and I would be like, I can handle this.
Right.
So there were definitely some challenging things, but most of them were fun challenges, honestly. You know, I had never done fight choreo on camera. I had done it on stage before, but I had never done on camera choreo. That was a really, really fun experience. And another challenging scene that was a fun challenge was the scene where Lilith.
You guys had fun. It looked like a fun experience, and I could just tell you guys just had a great time with each other as well. Like I said, the chemistry, and it was just really fun to watch. I loved this, and I loved the idea of this. I had never seen. I'm with Ken. I had never seen a horror film focusing on the character of a succubus, and I love that. I love the idea. That was really original, and it was just a great movie and a fun movie to watch. So I'm gonna pass it over to Chris, because I don't want to take any more questions. I have a feeling I might have taken a few of the guys already. So I can ask guys questions all night, but I'm gonna pass you over to Chris, and I know he has gotten some great questions for you, and it's just been a lot of fun talking to you guys.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Lee, Nell, and Savannah, I am delighted to be here. I love this movie, and I was very relieved. And Lee, I got to tell you, when Ken sent me the screener for Lilith, I said, oh, great. One of those, Adam had a first wife. He just didn't like the way women were talking to him, so they banished her. And this is going to be one of those Me Too type movies. And the Woman in Horror Month, and it's another movie with the cause. And then I put it on, and this was a lot of fun. Not that there would have been anything wrong with that, but this was a lot of fun. And I got to tell you, I don't think Hollywood and A-list celebrities could have made this movie, because from when shooting ends, they would have been in 5 different cabs heading in 5 different directions, or 7 different cabs. I got the feeling from you guys that even after shooting, you hung out at a hockey game where you closed down a diner at 2 or 3 in the morning. And the interplay was very, very similar than the interplay we probably saw in this movie. Please tell me that's the case, Lee, because it would break my heart to see that you guys hated each other and didn't want anything to do with each other.
It's so funny that you should say the diner thing, because hey, Savannah, remember that? No, when we did all the stuff, we did the stuff at the diner with Savannah and Michael, who plays Brad. We didn't close down that diner. We did open up that diner. We went there after they closed at we probably got there at 2-ish and shot till they opened at 5. And it was just, that day was so long. It was so long, but yeah, I mean, you're pretty right on the money as far as the overall vibe. We had our little 5-week family that we were calling it. It's we all were essentially living together for the most part of it. I mean, it was very, 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 very low budget. And yeah, I mean, yeah, there were points where a lot of us got at each other's throats here and there, because I mean, you're living with 10 plus people for 30 something days. It's going to get a little tense at times, but no, I mean, we loved the experience. I think, speaking for all of us, I mean, it was just a really fun time, and we all got to just kind of know each other and hang out together, and it was really, really fun. Y'all want to add anything, or did I cover it?
We're all hanging out this weekend. So yeah, we definitely all hang out as much as we can over, quarantine. That's been a bit of a challenge, but they're just awesome. And we definitely, I think, all became really close over that month and a few days.
Totally agreed. And during the process, I never really thought about this is going to really affect the film and it's going to make our chemistry so good. I didn't even really think of that as a factor, but looking back on it and hearing you guys phrase it that way, I think it's totally right. We, not to make it sound like too idyllic and too summer camp, but it kind of was. It was so much fun. And we really just enjoyed hanging out, and we were really in the trenches together. Not everything is smooth sailing, but when it wasn't, we would learn from it. We would support each other. It was a real scrappy effort, and it was fun as hell. And there were some late nights for sure.
Good. Now I got to tell you, this will be a good segue into my question for Savannah, but I was just in Savannah, and I went on this ghost tour, and it was neat. They had that house from the Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil movie, and the guy told us, he gave us these indicators and EVP things. He said, go look for a ghost, and wouldn't you know it, we all found him, and go figure. But he said, but whatever you do, don't go over to that lamppost and photograph it. So there's 25 of us in the tour. What do you think all 25 of us did? We went over to that lamppost, and you should hear the story. I won't say it, but there was bloody carnage that followed. The blood was drawn. And my wife and I have been talking about demons and ghosts ever since. And the guy who gave the tour says, you don't want to fool around with this stuff. You just don't know. And I was thinking about this when I saw, I think it was Emma did a little satanic ritual that ultimately conjured up Lilith. And did anything weird happen then? Or were you even thinking that, we just did this in the movie, but how fake was it? Were you almost expecting to like have a demon jump out of your closet when you got back to your home at night?
I feel like we actually harnessed some good energy. I remember there was one night, and Lee, I'm sure this is burned into your memory forever, but this is when we were filming Lilith's birth scene where she emerges from the ground essentially. And the weather report was calling for like 90% chance of rain. And we set up tentatively, we were getting ready to go. We were like, we're probably gonna have to pack everything up, but we'll just try it. We made through the whole night, no rain. And we looked at the weather radar and the rain actually parted around where we had been filming. So I think maybe yes, but I think we might have harnessed some of the good energy.
Yeah, I mean, there's no lie to what Nell just said at all. I mean, the clouds literally parted over us filming, which was absolutely bizarre. But yeah.
That's cool. All right, good. So you were watched over by a divine deity. That helps. And Savannah, I gotta say that there's many scenes with Lilith in the movie, and most of us will glob onto when you transform into a demon, when you're biting somebody's whatever off, but I was struck by the first time you appear. You were what we would think a co-ed walking through the quad, and there was no doubt that you were Lilith. You had a look, you had a strut. I don't know if this was a beauty pageant strut or whatever. This isn't the way a normal co-ed walks through it. In addition to memorizing lines, you had a whole movement that projected Lilith. Is this just natural Savannah, or is this almost a dance role for you in one sense?
Oh my gosh, I appreciate that so much. I definitely tried. I like to think me and Lily aren't very similar. So I definitely did work a bit on the physicality, and I think she's just also something I had to keep reminding myself is how confident she is. I mean, she's a succubus and these are all humans. And so I sort of tried to put that into the way I walked and spoke, more so than I do in real life, I think. So if anything, I think it helped me be more confident in real life, which was cool. But yeah, I tried my best to put that in.
I'm going to pass this on over to Omar in just a second, but do me a favor. If you speak to Robin, Taylor, or Lily in the near future, tell them that they were terrific. We just love them as well. And I tell you, if I ever need a satanic curse to conjure something up, I am going to call Robin up because she had it. And thank you so much. And I'm going to pass you on to Omar.
Hey, everybody. Nice to see you guys tonight, and I also enjoyed the movie. Chris kind of stole my question, but I guess he directed it to Savannah. But I'm gonna throw it to you, Neil. Are you kind of like your character in the movie, or are you totally different?
I think we have some similarities. We have some pretty major areas where we're different. I think Jenna is sensitive, and I think she sort of takes things to heart, and I can be that way too. But I think Jenna is also pretty impressionable, and I think she really cares what her friends say and what they want her to do, and really lets herself be influenced. And I think, like you were saying, Savannah, with Lily's confidence, she comes in and she's like, I'm a succubus. I don't care what anybody says. But I think Jenna really needs to feed off of other people. And I like to think that I've got like a little bit of a healthier Lily balance. Not quite with the murdering, not there, not that confident, but yeah, I think that's where we may differ. I think Jenna really looks to others to kind of help her form her opinions, and I think I know what I think.
Obviously, the movie deals with cheating, so I'm kind of curious. Obviously, it goes to horror links here, but what did you guys think of that? Would you guys maybe think about that one day? Maybe, or have you ever been cheated on to the point where, hey, that guy's gonna get it one day? I mean, maybe not from me, but maybe from somebody else.
I'll jump in first. I'm lucky to say that I have not been cheated on, thank goodness. I, I think we'd all like to say we're above seeking revenge. I don't think I would ever seek supernatural revenge, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, I'd like to think probably the same. I mean, I don't think anyone is I'm definitely not brave enough to seek anything through supernatural means, but at the same time, like part of me deep down, some cynical part of me thinks that like everybody has like someone that they would summon a Lily type on. That's just my view. I don't know, maybe that's a little defeatist or something, but
Yeah, I agree. I've also been lucky enough to have never been cheated on, but yeah, I like to think I wouldn't summon a succubus. That seems like a lot, but go off, Jenna. She did what she needed to do, and yeah.
Well, I was just kind of thinking of your responses. I mean, yeah, I mean the movie surrounded cheating, but it doesn't necessarily have to be cheating. I mean, you can be revengeful, and it can be revengeful for another reason, and maybe another demon needs to be summoned for that. But yeah, it didn't have to be cheating. Lee, I'm kind of curious from your point of view. Did you find it easy or hard to write? You have two women strong leads here. Did you find that easy to write or difficult?
oh God, you're hitting me with the question that's a landmine. Thank you. No, no, I mean, I don't know. I don't really like. I just when I write, I don't think about like necessarily the identity of a character like before I write it out. It's more just kind of like I write the way I hear people speak, and I use that to kind of create like how a character would talk, if that makes sense. So it's like, and like it's like it's more just I happen to be fortunate enough to be friends with a lot of women, so I know how like women talk to each other sometimes, if that makes sense. I don't know.
No, that makes sense. I get it. I mean, I know Chris is a much a writer, and he writes a lot of women, so I'm sure he knows more about that than I do. I know I've dabbled in writing, and I've found it hard to write the opposite sex, especially when you have two strong leads. So I was just kind of curious there. I know Muse. I'm gonna embarrass her because I know she didn't want to ask this, but I'm gonna ask this. How did Langston Fishburne get involved with the film?
Yeah, he just straight up applied. That's it. That's literally it. I mean, we were looking for a Professor Hardy type, and he applied, and none of us I mean, I don't want to say none of us, because I mean my father realized at some point after I showed him the audition, but I was like, I didn't realize he was related to Lawrence Fishburne at all when I was like looking to cast him, because I was just like, oh, his audition's really good. Like our cinematographer, his partner at the time was like, are you listening to a college lecture? And he was like, no, that's an audition, but good that you thought that. He was just really good for the part and happened to apply for it. That's pretty much it. Like there's nothing really else to it.
Okay. Well, I mean, he fit. I mean, I think it's his voice, because he sounds very much like his father. So I mean, immediately, even when I wasn't kind of looking at the screen, that voice came on, and I'm like, wait a minute, I recognize that. And then I said, wait a minute, that's not him though. What happened?
Well, it's funny. It's funnier too, because I mean, like watching his audition, looking at his headshots, I didn't make the connection at all, like even a little. And I was just like, and then like they're like someone pointed out, they're like, is he related to Lawrence Fishburne? I was like, no, what are you? And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's his son. Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and I'm going to throw it back to Ken.
Yeah, great questions all around, guys. and I feel the energy with Nell and Savannah and Lee here. I wish that we could have been on set with you guys because you guys seem like a riot. I also know that we're Lee. I didn't get where you're recording from tonight, but I know Savannah, Nell, and I are in the tri-state area, and I can just hear the rain. And I think my building just got struck by lightning. So if I die, it's not from a succubus.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I'm also in the
Or
tri-state
is
area.
it?
It's no, I'm also in the tri-state area. It's not raining here yet, I don't think. No, not yet. It's looking like it's about to, though.
Well, listen, this is our favorite part of the show, where we get to challenge you guys to a little horror trivia. So we call this the Deathly 13. You guys are going to work as a team, so 3 of you. And we also, Chris, HorrO, and myself are going to help you because we don't know the answers to these questions either, or the questions that are going to be coming, because Muse is our own personal succubus, and she tortures us daily. So she has these 13 questions that she's going to ask, and you get some lifelines. So you can ask, if you guys don't know it between the 3 of you, you can ask one of us at one time each. You can ask for multiple choice, or you can ask for postpone. You can postpone it to the end. Maybe you guys want to think about it for a second, or Google it without us knowing. I don't know. And you can also ask the chat room. We have a chat room going on YouTube right now with we call them the usual suspects, and a couple of new faces in there too. But yeah, we have a group there that they're all horror fans and know everything about everything, like what color tag was on Freddy Krueger's sweater. I'm sure somebody knows that. Anyway, Muse, you want to go ahead and take it away?
All right. Do you guys have any questions before we get started?
13 questions.
Yep, 13 questions.
Nope.
I don't know if I said that. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. And while you say the part about how much the 13th question is worth at the end, so we'll wait for that. All right. So we're going to jump right in. The first question, centering on the movie Child's Play. You guys familiar with that one with Chucky? All right. I'm going to ask you guys, what brand of doll was Chucky in the 1988 movie Child's Play? Do you guys
I press something when I know the answer, or what?
Yeah, you guys weren't going to seem to shout
jump
it
up
out.
and down, jump up and down, tap your head.
Yeah, woo, good guys.
Yes, good guy dolls,
yeah.
for sure. All right. Question 2. What was the name of the vessel that Brody, Quint, and Hooper set out in Jaws?
Now, are you touching your head because you know it, or are you touching your head because you don't know it?
And she's like, no, wait a minute.
I
know
should
it.
know it.
You do have the lifeline where you could postpone it if it's on the tip of your tongue, and we could come back to that one if you want.
Or you can ask the chat room, because I'm sure
Yep.
they know. I'm sure one of us knows. I don't know.
Chris says he knows.
Can I use Chris as my lifeline?
Yes, absolutely. Any of the guys.
About Orca.
Yep, it is the Orca.
Oh, yes, of course.
All right. I think you guys would have came back. I think that would have came to you after a few minutes. I definitely think so for sure. But Chris is definitely a font of knowledge for sure. He is absolutely awesome. All right, question 3. So this is a true or false. So you got a 50-50 shot at this one, guys. So true or false, Tom Matthews, who starred in Return of the Living Dead as the character Freddy, also played an incarnation of Tommy Jarvis in one of the Friday the 13th sequels. Is that true or false?
What's the actor's name?
Tom Matthews.
I'm not very good at this.
It's
You guys
okay. This one's tough, and even though it's a true or false, like it's scary because you don't, I know what my gut is telling me, but I don't even know if I'm right. And all I do is watch horror films. I don't.
We should.
Remember, you
it's
guys
50-50. We should.
I want to say
Right.
false.
But take a vote.
I was going to say true.
I was going to say true.
Oh, all right,
now
now it's up to you.
This
No,
one,
it's
I
up to
think
you.
true.
Ladies
I
might
think
be onto
true.
something.
She
It
says
is true. He did.
Oh, okay. There you go. See, y'all saved us.
First instinct is almost always
First
right.
instinct. The woman's always right.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. We need to have that on a t-shirt. All right.
Nobody would buy it.
I would. All right. Question 4. All right. In the movie American Werewolf in London, what type of symbol was on the wall of the pub, The Slaughtered Lamb? Oh, Ken's got his hand up if you guys aren't sure. There was a symbol painted on the wall.
Lee's digging deep into that wealth of knowledge.
And I think they asked him what it was there for as well in the movie.
I know
No
this
face.
one.
No,
I
I don't know
know
if you can
this
see your
one.
face.
No,
It's hilarious.
hang on. I know this shit.
Evil symbols. Evil symbols.
We can come back, if you want.
Yeah,
think
let's.
about
Can we?
it.
Can we postpone this one?
Yep,
I
absolutely.
like your shirt, by the way, too, Lee. I can see.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's rad, man.
it's a Monster Mania shirt. Thank you.
That's rad. All right.
That is cool. All right, question 5. In the movie Gremlins 2, what major city does the movie take place?
Oh shit.
I'm gonna give you guys a hint and say some of you are not far from it.
Is it New
You're
York?
not
New York?
It is New York City.
Okay.
Yes, it's New York
Thank
City.
you.
All right. And if I'm wrong, send me the hate mail. I'm almost 110% positive.
No, I'm pretty sure you're right.
I'm almost.
Oh yeah, no,
positive.
they sing the
Yes.
one sings New York, New York.
And I'm
That's
like,
right.
you know what? I usually look up all the answers just to make sure, because I know that, people will be like, oh, but I was like 100%, almost 100% positive on that one. All right. Question 6. How does the evil spirit end up communicating with Carol Ann in the movie Poltergeist 2, The Other Side, since there are no TVs?
You're going into like the sequels that I've seen one time
I'm a
and like
sequel
have
girl,
never
I'm sorry.
revisited because they're not like.
I know what you're saying.
Hang on. I remember 2 things from Poltergeist 2. I remember like the weird vomit monster, and I remember the
Yep.
Reverend Kane because he's terrifying. That's all I remember from Poltergeist 2. I'm gonna ask one of y'all for help on this one. I don't know.
Well, you can ask, because you used Chris, so you can ask myself, HorrO, or you can ask the chat room, which I think the chat room might know.
I'll ask the chat room.
All right. John Grant is saying the toy phone.
It is. It was.
Right.
Toy phone,
Yes.
yeah.
That's
Bad
right.
storm, interestingly.
Good job, John. Good
Yeah,
job,
there was a
John.
bad storm happening, and the raindrops started the phone ringing, and of course it was chaos from there. All right, question 7. So this is another true or false. True or false? Wes Craven directed the 1980 classic, The Fog.
False.
That is false. It was John Carpenter. Try to throw a little tricky one at you there. I knew you would know that, though. Love horror. You're definitely going to know that. All right. Question 8. Finish this famous quote from Night of the Creeps. Okay, this is fun. I think this is 1986 as well. Okay, so I'm going to say the quote, and you just fill in the blank when
I probably know it. I probably know it.
Settle down over there. We'll probably be coming to you. All right. And if the guys don't know it here. Okay. I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is your dates are here. The bad news is
they're dead.
Yeah, they're dead. Classic line. I love that. All right. All right.
Atkins and that mustache.
Yes, the porn stash. I love it. He's one of my absolute favorites. I love it. All right. I believe we're on question 9. I'm going to give you another true or false, and I'm going to ask you true or false. In John Carpenter's Halloween 3, a TV advertisement is featured for Carpenter's 1978 Halloween on one of the TVs.
True, and it caused a lot of confusion.
Yeah, it is actually. I think it was in a gas station scene or whatever. But you see a quick flash of a commercial for the original Halloween. So you can't say Michael Myers technically wasn't in Halloween 3 because he kind of was coming down the stairs there, I guess. Because I know.
Look, I'm just happy we're finally at a point where Halloween 3 is getting the recognition it deserves.
Me too. I love Halloween 3. I am a big fan. I loved it. I enjoyed the heck out of it. All right. Question 10. Which horror film anthology featured a kick-ass cat named General? I know Ken knows this one. I actually made this question just for him. if he was.
If they know it, though, they should say it. Savannah.
Yes, for sure. If you guys know it.
I don't.
She has a cat in the background. You should know. Whatever cat that is on your fridge.
I
back
know.
there,
I
it's gonna be
should.
Embarrassed.
Can we use you as a lifeline?
Yes. Cat's Eye.
Yeah, Stephen King's Cat's
Love
Eye.
it.
Really great
Love it.
anthology.
Best name for cat ever.
Yes,
Love it.
very cool name.
I like Church. I'm partial to Church.
Hey,
Church
Church
is
is
cool.
kick-ass too. I love Church. I had a cat look just like Church.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was dating my husband at the time, and he was afraid of cats. It did not help. So, all
Well,
right.
General killed a goblin that came out of the wall. Church just got killed. So
All right. Question. I think we're on question 11. All right. I got another horror movie quote for you. And when I finish with the quote, this isn't to finish the quote. I'm just going to ask you to tell me what horror movie I'm talking about when I finish. And if you know it before then, just shout it out. Don't even let me finish. All right. I understand that my niece and nephew are sending little love notes to the local minister, suggesting that he gargle with broken glass and eat a rat poison omelet. I'll give you a hint. It is a werewolf movie.
I got nothing.
is it a Stephen King movie?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that just answered my question. Thank you. Silver Bullet?
It is Silver Bullet. Yeah. That's one of Gary Busey's famous lines there when he finds out that they're.
Oh, it's Busey. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
Gary Busey plays their uncle, Uncle Red.
Now I have to watch it.
Yes,
Fuck.
Gary Busey.
Oh, am I allowed to curse? Oh, shoot.
No, you're absolutely fine.
Shit!
I
Am I allowed to curse? Oh shit!
I do it all the time. All right.
Please cuss more.
Yeah,
Next time,
right.
next question. Just go. What the fuck is it? I don't know. Oh, go ahead. 12.
Question 12. In the movie Evil Dead from 1981, who is the first character to be possessed?
Ooh, good question.
It's Ash's sister, but what the fuck is her name? Is it
I will take Ash's sister. I will still take it.
Cheryl? Is it
Yes.
Cheryl?
It is Cheryl.
Oh, okay,
Good
cool.
job. Well, listen,
Yeah.
we
I couldn't
gotta go
remember.
back.
I couldn't remember if Cheryl or Linda was the girl. Like, which one was the girlfriend? Which one was the sister?
Oh, my cat is going crazy. All right. Speaking of cats.
We gotta go back to question 4,
Okay.
which was American Werewolf in London, the symbol that was on the wall.
Yes, of the slaughtered.
Like, do you mean like the sign for the slaughtered
it was
lamb?
like-
The sign.
No, it was.
Oh, I have no
inside
idea.
the-
I don't know. I
Think
got nothing.
evil. Satanic.
It
Is
may
it a
have
pentagram?
Is it a pentagram?
Yes.
Is a pentagram.
It was a
That's right.
pentagram.
Right on.
El
All right.
Kessler.
All right.
All right. Good job.
Zoom 5. All right. So question 13 is worth 2 points. Right now, you guys are perfect. 12 for 12. So if you get this question right, you can go 14 for 13. And you still have HorrO as a lifeline. So that's if you don't get it, no pressure to HorrO there. But good luck.
All right. So this last one is a true or false. And I'm asking you true or false. The movie Final Destination was based on an episode idea for the X-Files, but it was never made.
True.
It is true. I was blown away by that. I wish I would have had a little more backstory. I wanted a little more backstory on that, but it was just basically them giving you facts and stuff. So that is pretty interesting. So
I think I found that recently. I read that recently, and that's the only reason I knew that.
Well, hey, it was meant to be because I was like, that is a really cool little fact there. That is neat. All right, you guys. So how did you do, Ken? You guys did pretty damn good, I think.
Pretty damn good. 14 for 13. I love
right.
it. Yeah, you guys killed it, man. So listen,
You carried the team.
Yes.
Awesome. You all did great.
It was the energy you guys provided. Listen, this is the opportunity we like to give you guys a chance to talk about what's in the pipeline for you. What are you working on? When can we see you in the next movie? Also, can we find you on social media? And where can we find the movie? So we'll go ahead and start with Nell.
Absolutely. So my next project in the pipeline is a Lee Esposito film. I'll let him talk a little bit more about it, but we are actually shooting it this upcoming weekend. So that is really thrilling. It's going to be right on the tail of Lilith premiering on streaming. So that's going to be great. You can find me on Instagram at Nell Kess and on Twitter at Kel Nessler. If you're located in or around New York City, I also co-host a comedy show called Energizer Honeys. Give us a follow on Instagram at Energizer Honeys. And that's it from me. Thank you guys so much.
Energizer Honey. Tell me a little bit about that. I'm just curious, just real quick.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a comedy variety show. So it's stand up as well as music and drag and all those good things. And we try to book comedians who are either women or queer or comedians of color. So it's very extra. It's a very good time.
Where are you guys in the west side? West side? Where are you?
Williamsburg is where we perform.
Oh, Brooklyn. Okay.
Brooklyn.
Okay. Right on. I'll have to check that out. All right, Miss Savannah.
Yes. Well, I'm going to be a script supervisor for the first time on Diviner, which is awesome. So I'm very excited for that. I'll let Lee tell more about that because we're very excited. And I wrote and directed my first film over quarantine. And it's in the thank you. It's in the festival circuit right now. It's a horror absurdist film called The Grumbling Pea Picker. So that's out and about. I believe next we're showing at Diametral in Austria. I wish I could go, but yeah. So definitely follow me on social media to stay tuned with that. My Instagram is @WhitneySavannah. So my last name in front of my first name.
Right on. Well, hey, listen, if any way we can support that, just let us know. We will definitely, anything horror, actually anything at all you guys want us to support, we will definitely support. So Lee, it looks like you have a lot to tell because you're involved in these young ladies' lives here. And so what's going on with you, man?
The rain just started coming down hard. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, first and foremost, just want to shout out real quick the two things that they just mentioned because Energizer Honey is fantastic, and the Grumbling Pea Picker is also fantastic and so weird. And if y'all are fans of really like surrealist, absurd content, it's great. It's so good. It was a lot of fun to help out with that. So I just want to. Savannah, congratulations. Yeah, Lilith drops on Friday, the 9th. You can find it on a bunch of platforms like Amazon and Tubi and Kings of Horror and all that fun stuff. I think we're doing a live thing for Kings of Horror for like a premiere on Friday as well, so that'll be cool. Yeah, Saturday, we are going into production on Diviner, which is a new short film of mine. We funded it through Kickstarter. We made almost double our initial ask, which was really cool. It's a short cosmic horror piece that is tackling themes involving religion and trauma, and yeah, it's going to be fun. I don't want to reveal too much. I just kind of want to, it's going to be a very aesthetically focused project, and it's going to be very different than Lilith.
Well, Lee, thank you so much. Obviously we would love to help promote it with HorrO and PromoteHorror.com as well. We love sharing any news we can get. So please email us and let us know. On behalf of Where the Scary Things Are, Nell, Savannah, and Lee, thank you so much. Listeners, check out the film. It comes out on the 9th. It sounds like you can find it anywhere where they're streaming. It's Lilith. Lots of fun. Really great acting, and you are going to like this movie. Definitely check it out. Anyway, till next time, my friends, keep it scary. We'll catch you guys around, okay?
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Well, hey guys, thank you so much again. It's a YouTube channel, so we people tune in later on, or there's some put the live on there, and I'll release it as a podcast in about a week or so, and we'll try to tag you guys on your social media. So anything you guys need from us, just share it, and we would love to help support your careers. We really love the film. But thank you again, and good luck with shooting next week. That's awesome.
Thank you
It's
so
good to
much.
Get back in the groove
you.
of things, right?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thank you guys so much for having us.
Be safe.
You
Have a
guys
good night,
are
guys.
awesome. Night, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
All right, good stuff. I'm going to grab a beer before we get the next segment started. So we are still live on YouTube, so don't say anything inappropriate, Chris.
Oh, motherfucker. Oh, no.
Oh, I thought you were going to go all the way through with it. I'm like, come on.
Oh.
Yeah, I do.
I was going to take off my shirt and everything. I don't know.
Yeah.
Omar's OnlyFans.
Omar's OnlyFans, exactly. Better off Dexter. Here, let's get Dexter in the picture here. Watch out.
Hey, doing breakfast tomorrow at 7 a.m. at the Forum. Love to have you guys join me.
So you're always teasing us with food, man. Ken does it too. I was waiting for him to send us a picture of some barbecue on 4th of July. I was disappointed.
You know, being retired is so great. You can meet buddies for breakfast. You can meet buddies for lunch. You can meet buddies for dinner. And you don't have to worry about the next day. I tell you, I am going to town on Slaughter of the Danger Dames. I'm going to try to get that out in August, but I was really typing away. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I'm like I said, I'm living through you, man.
Well, you'll be there someday.
It's like I'm there.
Yeah, I wasn't doing this 20 years ago. Yeah. But,
I definitely understand that for sure.
All right, guys, let's get it going again. Good stuff. All right, hold on 1 second. We're gonna go live here.
Oh, Jesus.
Good evening, listeners. Welcome to Where the Scary Things Are, episode number 99. I'm your host, MonsterMash Ken, and with me is my co-host, the Mistress of Darkness, the Queen of Fright, the Lady of the Night, Muse. How you doing tonight, lady?
Oh, good. Over here trying not to melt, but we finally got our AC fixed, so hallelujah.
Oh,
it's way too hot.
The weather won't make up its mind. It's like pouring rain right now, which is great for your segment coming up, right?
Yeah, how creepy is that?
That's awesome. But it's raining cats and dogs, and I love the rain. I love hearing it. I just don't like when it's 95 degrees outside and it's raining fire. So I'm not into that. I just don't like it.
Either.
Yeah.
I'm a fall baby.
Yeah, no, you know what? I agree with you. I think that's what it's about there. I hate the summers here, especially on the East Coast. Anyway, but a man who is always hot in his own way, Chris, the creature Zisi. How are you doing, my friend?
I am doing wonderful. We've had a cooler than usual summer here, but not today. I wish I could have some of that rain you guys are having because it would really be neat if it cooled off about 20 degrees right now. But I'm doing great. I'm a bachelor this whole week. My wife's away, and that means I'm writing a lot. And I'm going to try to get another book out by August, more in that in the coming weeks.
Excellent. We can't wait to see. And I hope you're having a lot of success with the tentacle major.
Yeah,
I can't remember the name.
Well, there's 4 of them. Bikini Babes vs. Vampires, the Tentacles Invasion,
That's
and the Violation of Major Alice, and Gunvor the Space Babe.
Wow,
and
those are wild.
Soon, Slaughter of the Danger Dames.
You're out of control, man, with your titles. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Check it out, you guys. Make sure you guys check out Chris's Emporium for B movies, and you can find all the information there on his books. All right. Also with us is HorrO from PromoteHorror.com with that skinny son of a bitch, Dexter. How are you guys doing today? How was your 4th of July?
We're doing good because we've conjured up the right demon to keep the tropical storm Elsa away from us. And we're going to rely on this demon to keep all the hurricanes away from us from this point on. So yeah, we're doing good. You guys are apparently getting rained on. And we have a storm right off to our side here, but we're doing good. No problems here.
Listen, if for some reason it starts flooding, just let Dexter go. There's no point in saving him.
I'm gonna ride him, just jump on top and just go down the river.
Well, listen, we have a really cool show on for you tonight. If you got to catch our YouTube channel, you heard the interview already. If not, you're listening to the podcast, you'll hear it on the back end of the show. We are talking with the director, Lee Esposito, and he has directed Lilith. We have cast members on the 2 main stars of the show, Savannah Witten, who plays Lilith, a succubus, and Jenna, Nell Kessler, who plays Jenna, a very sweet woman. It was a great film. I thought it was a lot of fun. It comes out on the 9th, which when this show comes out, you'll be able to stream it. Forgive me if you hear a little bit of the rain in the background, because that rain is coming down, but we are live and the show must go on. Anyway, I can't wait to get the show started here. I have this beer in front of me. And one thing I do like about summer is they have such great beers that they put out for this, seasonal beers and whatnot. And I just love a good beer that when it's really hot outside, you sit outside and you crack one open, or when you're on where the scary things are and you can crack a beer open with your friends here and the listeners. So on that note, just cheers to you guys, the listeners, the usual suspects, as I call them. Thank you so much for always supporting the show. Special shout out to you, Luke. Luke and I spoke about something we're trying to work on together. I can't wait to see if it works out. Anyway, let me crack this beer. This is the Fear the Beer of the Week. Sound. This is Hell or High Water watermelon. And this is, where's my camera? There it is. Oh, you can't see it. I lost my other camera. You can't really see the beer this week. I'm sorry. I feel like a loser. But yeah, this is a really good beer. I've had this before, but I had it a couple years ago. But it's got a Statue of Liberty on it, eating a watermelon during the summertime. And as I spill this beer on my computer, but yeah, it's really good. It's a wheat beer. It's a wheat beer that tastes like watermelon. So cheers to you guys. And that is delightful. So let's get on into a couple of things, flashbacks here. I'm going to start with a very special movie for HorrO that was released on June 30th in 2010. I know that he probably waited in line for this one. He probably wore t-shirts. He went to Hot Topic. He got the hats. He probably got some of the jewelry. He probably even wore underwear. On June 30th, 2010, Twilight Saga continues with Eclipse. And I know HorrO was there first in line to watch. He probably bought advance tickets. And he actually probably pulled some strings to see the premiere with them. So yeah.
Sad part is I probably was just because my wife, girlfriend at the time, she's the one to blame for all that. So yeah, I honestly probably was.
Well, listen, I was at Comic-Con one time in San Diego, and I had no idea what line I was in, but it was for Twilight, and I was there, and they were literally offering me money. I wasn't there. I was there to watch the Marvel panel, which you had to sit through the Twilight shit to get to the Marvel panel because they do it at the end, right? And I was up close because I know how to do Hall H. And I swear this young gal offered me $200, and I was like, I almost took it, but it's Marvel, and that anyway, that was when Iron Man came out, I think, for the first one. I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, these people like HorrO that wait in line hours and hours just to watch, they're out of control. But I'm going to salvage the segment with a better movie that was released on June 30th, 1985. I believe that's when Dexter was born, June 30th, 1985. Day of the Dead. This premiered here. So we love that zombie movie, of course. Lots of killing there. Let's see. I'm going to skip that one for 1 second. July 4th, Uncle Sam, 1997. I don't think I've seen this movie, but it looks kind of cool. And I got one of my favorite movies all time, like probably my top 5 movies ever, was released July 2nd, 1986. Big Trouble, Little China. John Grant, I know that you always post something about Big Trouble. This movie can do no wrong. I don't care. If somebody told me they didn't like it, I don't like them. I'm sorry. I'm sure Dexter probably doesn't like it. But this movie is awesome. If you have never seen Big Trouble in Little China, you are just not living life the right way. Also, just a quick shout out to somebody that's done so many things for movies. Richard Donner passed away. He gave us Lethal Weapon, The Goonies, Superman, one of my favorite Christmas movies, Scrooged, The Omen. He worked on The Lost Boys, I believe, Lethal Weapon, if I didn't say that already. But yeah, he passed away not too long ago, yesterday, I'm sorry. And very sad when we lose these iconic people in the film industry. He's a titan in the film industry. So yeah, so that's my horror movie flashback. Now my black hole of the internet, real quick. We're doing this movie about it's about a succubus, right? It's called Lilith. Lilith is obviously the name for the succubus there. And in the movie, these young ladies are in school, and they're whatchamacallit, the professor's talking there, and he mentions a name that I had to look up because they kind of have a little argument about it. And the name was Peter Bensfeld. So I had to look up this name and see if it was real or not. And sure enough, it is a real name. And I just want to kind of read this. It's kind of crazy stuff. So Peter a son of a farmer and craftsman, was born in the village of Binsfeld in the rural Eifel region, located in the modern state Rhineland Palatinate. He died in Trier as a victim of the bubonic plague. Binsfeld grew up in predominantly Catholic environment of the Eifel region. Considered by a local abbot to be a very gifted boy, Peter Binsfeld was sent to Rome for study. After his studies, Binsfeld returned to his home region and became an important personality in the anti-Protestant Catholic activities in the late 16th century. He was elected to the auxiliary bishop of Trier and became a well-known writer on theology, who achieved a notary and one of the most prominent witch hunters of his time. So that's kind of jumped out at me. Binsfeld was one of the main drivers of the Trier witch trials that ravaged the area under the dominion of the Archbishop Johann von Schonenberg between 1581 and 93. Binsfeld wrote the influential treatise I cannot pronounce his name, but bear with me, De Confessionibus Melicorum. I believe that is Latin. Oh, Ent Sagarum. I believe that is Latin. Forgive me for not speaking Latin. But in English, it is the Confession of Warlocks and Witches. I want to read that book very much so. Translated into several languages, this book, I'll skip that. This work discussed the confessions of alleged witches and claimed even if such confessions were produced by torture. That's the first thing I thought about when I read that line. They should still be believed. He also is encouraged a denouncement. He thought that girls under the age of 12 and boys under the age of 14 could not be considered guilty of practicing witchcraft, but due to the I can't say that word, precocity of some children, the law should not completely be strict. This point of view can be considered as moderate, taking into account some of the tribunals had condemned children between 2 and 5 years of age to be burnt at the stake. That's bananas. Contrary to the other authors of this time, Binsfeld doubted the ability of shape-shifting and validity of the diabolical mark, which we kind of talked about earlier. In 1589, Binsfeld published an influential list of demons and their associated sins. Now, this is really interesting, including the demons associated with the 7 deadly sins. Lucifer, associated with pride, Mammon, greed, Asmodeus, lust, Leviathan, envy, Beelzebub, gluttony, Satan, wrath, and Belphegor, sloth. So I just thought it was really curious. I was really curious about that name, Peter Binsfeld. And religion, if you don't believe what they believe, they think, and this time they thought you were a witch, you get burnt by a stake. Yeah, make sure Dexter's okay. He's going to be all right. So very interesting stuff there. I wanted to look it up, check it out. Anyway, I know I spoke a lot, took a lot of time there. Muse, I will pass it to you with the Sinister Six.
All right. So yeah, fascinating stuff, and definitely, I always, John Grant says, always thought provoking when Ken does a black hole of the internet, and I totally agree. Makes you think and makes you want to go check out some of that stuff and see what the heck he's talking about. But I love it. It's great. So I just want to know, we're not going to be getting quizzed on that or anything, are we? Great.
You maybe.
I knew it.
You maybe,
Professor Cruz, do I need notes or no? But it was awesome. I loved it. All right, so it's really creepy and awesome that it's storming where Ken is, and I think that it's raining where John Grant is as well, because inspired by one of Chris Creature's great ideas, I'm going to be talking about storms in horror films this week. So I'm going to start off, give the guys some chances to come up with their lists as well. And there are so many great storm scenes in horror. So this was kind of hard to narrow down. But I'm going to start off with, it was Return of the Living Dead Day a few days ago. So that is where I'm starting. Return of the Living Dead from 1985. Of course, we know that the big storm that just makes everything worse in that film after the gas is released from the barrel from Bert and Freddie's little mishap there, messing around with those barrels. Just one of those great duos as well. James Karen and Tom Matthews are one of my favorite duos of all time, I think, in movie cinema. So I love them both. And so, yeah, Return of the Living Dead has a really great storm scene where it really starts pouring down and it's saturating the ground, and you just get all these really great effects, and the dead are coming up out of the graves, and it's fantastic. And of course it spreads everything even faster as far as the gas goes. So great segment there, and one of my favorite storm scenes in a horror for Return of the Living Dead 1985. The second is, and y'all knew it was coming, Jason Lives 1986, The Lightning Strike. Of course, Tom Matthews again here, actually, as Tommy Jarvis. I mentioned that earlier in the trivia. This is where he plays one of the Tommy Jarvis characters, played by 3 different people throughout the franchise. And, I found it really interesting that Tommy Jarvis was really the only person to actually keep Jason dead. And he's also the only one that resurrected him really effectively. He was actually dead in the grave, and had he left him alone, I don't think we would have had any more sequels. I think he was going to stay there. At least it looked that way. He looked pretty maggot filled and gross and slimy and all that stuff. But of course, we know the lightning strike revived him, kind of Frankenstein style. So definitely a great iconic storm scene there. The third is The Burbs. I'm always finding an excuse to talk about this film. And this is the scene where Tom Hanks' character, Ray, and the big shout out to Luna and John, and also Venus, we watched The Burbs. We got online and watched it together. It was a lot of fun. And we still joke about it today. But there's the scene where Ray is looking out his bedroom window and he sees his neighbors digging in the backyard during a really bad rainstorm. And of course, it looks like they're digging graves and burying bodies. And it's really hilarious. Like I said, I could watch that movie over and over. Just a great movie, 1989 for that one. And number 4, I do not mention this one often because it is kind of controversial. I know that there's a lot of folks that might cringe when I say this one, and I know why. So just bear with me. It fits the category. Twilight Zone, the movie, was the segment with John Lithgow, Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. We know it's basically an update of the original that starred William Shatner in the series. And it's just such a great, John Lithgow just kills it in this scene. And I know that there's some critics out there of this film because of some things that happened on the set, and absolutely agree. It's totally tragic. And I'm not touching on that. I'm away from that, but this is why I don't mention this one as much. But this segment, it was fantastic. John Lithgow just was absolutely fantastic. And the scene was my favorite story, and just a great homage to the original with William Shatner. And if you remember, he's scared to death of flying. And of course, he sees this gremlin on the wing of the plane. And then, of course, there's a horrible lightning storm that happens just to make everything worse. You see this gremlin ripping out plane engines. And it's just like, if you're afraid to fly, this is going to really mess you over for any future flights. So definitely has had me like putting my little window blinder down when I flew after that, because I saw this before I flew, not right before, but I remembered it. So I remembered him putting his down, and I was like, I don't even want to look outside, but then I did later, and I was glad I did. But just a great scene, and it definitely was a great storm as well. Like I said, John Lithgow was fantastic here. Number 5 is kind of a shorter storm segment, but iconic all the same. It 1990 with Pennywise, played by Tim Curry. We remember how the movie starts out. It's a really nasty rainstorm. And of course, little Georgie is out playing. He comes to the drain and his little toy boat goes down the drain. And of course, Pennywise sucks him in, and it's pretty brutal and horrible, but fantastic if you're a horror fan, but definitely a rough scene to watch. Definitely one of those taboos there where children get kind of mutilated, and that definitely happens here several times in the movie. And then last but not least, number 6, Poltergeist. I mean, I love tornadoes, and I loved how they incorporated a tornado into this movie. And you actually see a little visual of the tornado when they run outside. And of course, we see the tree bust through the window and take Carol Ann's little brother. And, it's basically just meant to divert the family so that the entity can take Carol Ann through her closet. So it was a really great scene, and the effects were spot on. And it's definitely one of my favorites. So that is my top 6. So I'm going to go to Chris first because he gave me the idea for this, and I loved it. I love this idea. So I'm excited to hear what Chris has to say.
Oh, yeah. I gave you the idea without having come up with a movie, but one comes right to mind. And did you guys know there is a horror movie version of Rain Man?
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I did a review on this. It's a movie called Burning Bright. One of the stars is a severely autistic child who probably should be in the same type of institution Dustin Hoffman was in. And but the premise of the movie is Brianna Evigan is wants to go to college, finds out her stepdad stole all of her money, and now she has to spend full time taking care of her severely autistic 10-year-old brother. And the dad stole the money so he could buy a vicious tiger because he wants to start a zoo. Well, he parks the tiger next to the house. He boards up all the windows because guess what? There's a hurricane coming, and the hurricane comes, knocks the cage over. Tiger gets in the house. All the doors and windows are boarded up, and it's Brianna Evigan and her severely autistic brother and this man-eating tiger. And this tiger is vicious. It just busts through walls and stuff. It's that ferocious. It's a really, really good movie. It's actually a very, very touching movie. A sister's relationship with a brother who will never be able to express his love for her. She has to become a very selfless woman the moment all of her dreams sort of evaporate. And then you get this monster fight. If you ever get a chance to see Burning Bright, did a review on it. Terrific. What's that Stephen King one where there's a snowstorm and they're on the island and nobody can get out?
Storm of the Century.
Yeah, that's what it is. And The Fog, not really a storm, but kind of. Both of them. Fog rolls in, nobody can go anywhere. Those are the movies. The only other really, really neat tornado scene is one of the episodes of The Walking Dead where they leave Georgia and head up to Alexandria, Virginia. Just before they get to Alexandria, they're in a barn. It looks like the zombies are going to get them. And then out of nowhere comes this massive El Derecho or tornado, whatever you want to call it. But that was a pretty good scene. So those are mine.
Oh man, I'm like mad I missed the tornado episode of Walking Dead. I watched, especially back then before they got to Alexandria. I'm gonna have to go back and find out where that is. And definitely, I've heard about Burning Bright. And when you said the title, I did not know exactly what it was about, but I've seen the title for sure. So I'm definitely gonna check that one out. So yeah, great scenes. And I always love when you guys come up with just movies I've not heard of, and I can check them out for myself. I love it. All right, I'm going to Omar next, and I'm curious about what he's going to pick for his favorite storm scenes in horror movies.
Well, I'm gonna steal all Ken's. No, I'm just kidding. That's Dexter told me to say that. I don't know what his problem is, but I'm surprised that we haven't mentioned. It's not really a horror movie, but come on, Twister. We're talking about hurricanes here and so forth.
But I was like, I thought I knew. I thought
and I mean, there went the cow and another cow.
Yeah, it is scary.
And there's still the whole farm is going by, and
the drive-in scene where they're watching The Shining was just like epic.
Yeah, I mean, come on. They even had the ride at Universal until they had to take that out. But yeah, I mean, Twister. I was also thinking of a more recent one is Crawl with the alligators. Yeah. Get much more stormier than that. Also down here in Florida, so I should know. A crazy thriller kind of movie is this Identity. It rained heavily in the end of that movie. That you've not seen that movie, I don't get too much away. It's terrific twist and crazy thriller in that one. John Cusack, I think, is in that one. And of course, the ever classic any version of Sharknado. I mean, isn't it raining sharks or whatever? You can't go wrong with, what was it, 1 through 5, 1 through 6, 1 through whatever. So yeah.
I love it. I almost said Sharknado, but I was like, I know Omar's going to say it, so I don't have to. I know I can count on you guys for any ones I miss because I can only do 6 and it's hard to do. Luke said Amityville Horror, which was another one that I was at the end there when they're fleeing in the night. It's just a terrible storm going on and just makes it even more disturbing and just kind of like throws you out of the moment and it's just fantastic. I can't even imagine what was going on, how scared they were. So yeah, definitely fit. And I agree about Twister. It is scary, when you're talking about things that could actually happen like tomorrow or, today, it's frightening. That type of stuff can come out of nowhere and catch you unprepared for sure. I'm like, it's storming where Ken is, and he's like, please stop talking. All right, so
you know me too well. Like, can you just shut your goddamn mouth, please?
like, like Ken's over here like, come on. All right, Professor Cruz.
Right.
I'm ready for your list. All right.
Just real quick again, just shouting out the chat room there. You guys are awesome. Mike is in there, Luke is in there, John Grant, promote horror. Oh, that's you, HorrO. Luna, I miss you, Luna. You're the best. One Woodswalker X. Okay, I'm gonna scroll up. Anyway, my movies, because it's the most important part. I was thinking, 30 Days of Night, it's not necessarily there's snow, but still, like, it's 30 Days of Night. It has something to do with the weather, it's dark, but I think this is one of the most underrated vampire movies there is. I mean, the gore, the killing, the vampires themselves. This is a good freaking movie, based off of a graphic novel, Frank Miller, I believe. Just if you have not seen 30 Days a Night, check that one out. It's an awesome movie. And the head vampire there, I forgot his name. Muse, what is his name? Do you remember?
Oh, Dad,
He had a really good name. I can't remember his
did.
name.
Oh my goodness, I don't know. The chat might know. I don't know.
Yeah. All right,
like,
but
of course you're gonna start quizzing me.
yeah, right. I gotta get
I
you
can
back.
see him though.
Yeah. So that was one. Also, one of my favorite horror movies all time is Bram Stoker's Dracula. Obviously, he can they talk about that, how he can control the winds and the seas and whatnot. So as he's traveling across the sea there, and as he gets mad at the point where Mina leaves him, he's wins, and he's got this passion and this love, and he's so frustrated, and he can just cause that. So and then he causes it to rain, and then he goes out as the wolf, and he gets Lucy, and all this great stuff. But I always thought there was a good correlation to get into, dive a little bit deeper here for a second. And I thought about this with Lilith for a second with the movie that we watched, and I want to make a point. When you think of horror movies, you always think of the weather plays such a role in horror movies. Like, it's always dark, it's always rainy, it's stormy night, the full moon is out. American Werewolf in London, the fog is there. It just creates this atmosphere for everybody to be scared of, right? And I think when you have a storm, you tend to get, it's like it's a good time to tell scary stories, right? Get your flashlights out, you don't know if the power's going to go out, whatever. But I think the rain and thunderstorms always relate to tell, or it adds an extra element to horror films. Now, one thing I noticed about Lilith, which we'll get into later on, but the succubus, when she comes out during the day. And I thought that was a pretty cool element. I should have brought that up to Lee, that I liked that he had done that, because demons are going to just come out when they come out, and it's not always going to be at night and or whatnot. And the movies kind of just, the history of movies, they kind of play this role where monsters only come out at night. Not always the case. Michael Myers was walking around during the daytime, hiding behind bushes, and who knows what he was doing behind those bushes, but he was there. But I just thought that's a cool element, something to bring up. Why does the weather affect or have to play a role in that? Like, if I'm walking there the daytime, my guard is down, but I'm walking at night, I'm a little more guarded. So if I'm walking during the daytime and I see something that's scary, it's gonna get me. So think about that. Interesting thought. Sorry, Muse. I talk a lot.
That's okay. So do I. And that's why we're always telling each other, shut up. That's all right. I love it. And I loved all the answers. The chat, some great answers as well. I think they said The Abyss, which was one of the best storms we never saw, because of course, if you remember, there was a hurricane topside while they were all under the water, and they were kind of stuck there, I believe, as well. All right.
Sorry, real quick. I'm sorry. And I forgot to mention one more, but Woodwalker X said something. I forgot to say the name, the Monster Squad, because they bring the tunnel. But he brought up another point when he brings the lightning to Frankenstein to bring him back alive. And I meant to mention Monster Squad. Woodwalker X, thank you so much for bringing that up. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Muse. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I do.
It's all right. I know. I was waiting for Frankenstein too. I'm like, there's no Frankenstein, but I mean, there's so many great ones. It's hard to remember them all because there's so many great storm scenes in horror. So there's a lot of great answers there in the chat. I always love reading their answers just as much as I love hearing your guys. So yeah, that's it for this week. And hopefully no more lightning strikes where you're at, Ken, and I will pass it back to you.
That's a really cool segment, but I love that you brought that up, Chris. Thank you for helping Muse out, do her job.
Definitely.
She's so incompetent that she needs help doing her job.
Shut up.
Got one job to do. No, I'm just kidding. You always bring it, man. You always bring such a good conversation out of everybody, not just us, but in the chat room too. It's something to think about, and these movies that we forget about sometimes. So it's really cool because we all get to talk about several. We literally talk not just 6 movies, but we probably talk about 20 movies in that segment in that short span of time, which is really cool. And then with the chat room too, bringing up their points, it's really great segment. But yeah, let's get into the Promote Horror Rundown with HorrO and Dexter.
Yeah, Muse needs a little help. I need a little help. I got him here, but I don't know. Sometimes he helps, sometimes he's not. I don't know. Anyway, we talk about movies new and old all across the spectrum, and I've talked a couple of times about some of the newer movies that hit the theaters, the big time movies, Spiral and The Conjuring. So I'm going to bring it home here, and number 3, and that's A Quiet Place, my most anticipated movie, BC, and that is, of course, before COVID hit. And I just loved part 1. I'm such a fan of part 1, so it kind of really, really hurt that it took so long for me to watch this movie, and I still would love to have seen it on the big screen. I loved and appreciated what they did in part 2. The story kind of just picks up. It does flash back. You do get to see them at the family. Don't worry, guys, no spoilers. I'm not gonna spoil too much here. You do get to see the family right at the beginning of the movie, right when day one, when this kind of alien invasion kind of starts. So they kind of dive into that, but then they come right back to where they were at the end of the first movie and pick up there, and then take you on just it seems like a long movie, but it's just another segment in their life. But I really enjoyed it. I'm glad there's going to be a 3rd part. I'm interested to see what they do with the spinoff. And I guess one of the things I just kind of want to focus on, I don't want to make this kind of a review of the movie. I'm going to do that on my own. But I want to focus on the sound of the movie, because obviously that is an important thing. I mean, it's all about sound. From the aliens being so sensitive to it, they hear you, they hear everything. The young girl in it, her not being able to hear, it just plays such an important role in everything. And I think that it's one of the things that kind of separates this movie, or at least makes you pay attention to it, and kind of makes it a little bit different than some of the other horror out there. And to me, horror is when sound is involved, it's good and bad. I mean, you need, everybody kind of likes to have their horror with the sound, and you got to tip off that the slasher is coming, and cue the music, and we're going to make it a little bit louder and a little bit louder, and here he comes, and bam, the person is dead, and you knew it was coming. It's not a shock, because if you just follow the sound, it's there. Or sometimes they flip it around. Oh, the sound is going, bam. No, just something fell on the floor. Oh, whatever. But I think if you're a horror fan, you've been a horror fan for a long time, you kind of follow those sounds, and you can kind of guess, oh, this sound is going to lead me nowhere. Or this sound is, oh, here comes the slasher, bam, whatever. Where here, you have sound, but you also have sound turned off, which is very interesting, and it's a back and forth. Sometimes you have the sound, sometimes you don't, and I think it plays an important part in the movie. So you got to put to when it does that, you have to kind of pay attention to the movie visually, because when you have nothing to pay, if you're kind of waiting for that cue, you're kind of waiting for that, Jaws is coming, cue the music, here he comes. But imagine if you didn't have that, and maybe you didn't have the Fen coming so soon, you really wouldn't know. And they do have 1 or 2 times when Jaws kind of just appears. Maybe you don't know, and it's not as cued. But when A Quiet Place does that, all of a sudden you're taking the angle of the little girl here, and you're hearing nothing. So obviously you don't know, is there going to be an alien in front of you? Is there not? Where is it going? Is she not paying attention? If she's not paying attention, you're not going to see it. If you're a person like me who sometimes watches and does work at the same time, and all of a sudden you're watching A Quiet Place and it goes quiet, what the hell is happening? You have to pay attention. You have to look at the screen and be like, okay, I can no longer just sit here with the headphones on and be like, oh, okay, well, X, Y, and Z is happening. So I think that's an important part of it. So I think they do a really good job. And I think one of the other things that is with A Quiet Place, and whether you like the movie or you don't, whether the first one or the second one, if you've seen it or not, I think a lot of it rests on the family. You have to be invested in this family, because if you're not, you're gonna watch it, be like, okay, it's another alien movie. Aliens are attacking these people, whatever, and move on. But I think you gotta get invested with the family, because if obviously I'm not gonna, if you haven't seen part one, I'm not gonna spoil what happened at the end of part one, but it's very emotional there. So if you weren't invested then, maybe you'll get invested right then in that moment. And I think having children with a special need might, strike a little bit in your heart a little bit different. So again, you have this young girl here who is a little bit more in the focus. She's in a lot of the focus of the first one, but again, even more on the second one. And you find yourself kind of rooting for her. So again, you're rooting for her and you're rooting for her, and then you get thrown in this whole sound angle with her as well. Not to mention, they have a baby with them. I mean, not too many other apocalypse, movies, whatever. If you just stay long enough in The Walking Dead, you do get a couple of babies, but whatever. But not too many other ones are going to have a baby here. But then throw on top of it, you have to be quiet. This is the worst place for a baby, is to be in an environment where you have to be quiet. And obviously they're a little creative here, and they figure their way out about it. So I think, you have to be invested with this family. And I think you have to watch it, from their standpoint, and put yourself in those shoes. Because you just step back and just watch the movie like casually, like whatever, they're surviving and blah, blah, there's aliens, here they come, and you move on. But I think to really enjoy The Quiet Place, you really have to get invested and really have to put yourself in their shoes. So I really root for this family, really into it. I just love the quietness of it, and just, like I said, you put yourself in their shoes. Just imagine, being in an apocalyptic world for A, B, or C reason, but having to be quiet. I mean, you have to put away your phones, no more phones. I mean, just imagine yourself going through a day, maybe for 1 hour, and just kind of being quiet. Can you do it? I mean, besides sleeping, even when you're sleeping, I snore as hell. There's no way. I'm dead. If I'm going to sleep, I'm dead. I don't even know how people in this environment are going to go to sleep. So it's just crazy. I like that. I think it's an added addition. We've seen tons of alien movies. If you're wondering, you're going to see more aliens in this. There's a lot of alien action in this movie. But again, it is all about a quiet place. It's all about being quiet, and that's what makes this movie special, which is why I'm glad to see it's going to have at least a third part, why it's having a spinoff, and I'm very much looking forward to it. So I don't know if anybody else here has seen it. I'm going to kind of open it up, throw it to you guys. You can comment on A Quiet Place, or maybe comment on Sound and Horror. Just throw another example out there. Dead Silence is a terrific movie, very underrated movie. I love it because of that silence. It's just different. Think of it as another. You see plenty of doll movies, going crazy and blah blah, but this one has a doll in it, but everything is quiet at certain moments, and it just adds to it. So I don't know who wants to take it, but go at it.
All right, the sound in a horror movie that always got me was the sloshing sound of something squirming around. I always remember the scene from Squirm, the movie, where there's an apparent corpse on the ground, and they go down and investigate. He puts his ear to the guy's chest to see if the heart's beating. You just hear slosh, 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 slosh. Opens it up, and it's just filled with worms. And I was like, oh boy, ugh. And the other one is the Predator movie, that little tick, tick, tick sound that the Predator made. And, you couldn't see him. And you would first know he's around by that little sound. And then if you hear that sound, it's probably too late unless you're Arnold Schwarzenegger. So those are the two sounds that come right to mind. But you're absolutely right. There's dialogue, there's music, and then there's everything else. And the sound is that everything else. And whether it be the lightning claps, the sloshing, the footsteps, the scratching at the door. Oh yeah, this is big. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, I'll go next before Ken steals my answers
Yes.
because he's probably, I don't know, I might steal at least one of his. I remember just being amazed at and it's got a great score, so that even and makes it even better, is Jaws. You're underneath the water, you don't really hear anything except that iconic music. And anytime you hear that music, something bad is going to happen, and it just starts out so subtly and just builds in its intensity and everything like that. And it just absolutely sets the scene for the sound in the movie, because it's totally quiet underneath the water. You're just, all you probably hear is your heartbeat, which is always another great effect in movies, when you just hear the heartbeat, and it's almost like it's your heart beating too in the film. But also, I got to say it, being alone in the woods and hearing any like that type of thing, I probably just stole Ken's answer right there, but it'll make me, I don't even want to go in the woods after hearing that. It's an iconic sound. And of course, we all know Jason Voorhees makes that sound, and it's time to get the hell out of there at that point. I wouldn't be down in the woods anyway, camping, having premarital sex or any of that kind of stuff. I've seen enough horror movies to know that doesn't work. So yeah, those are my 2, and I will throw it over to Ken.
Yeah, you picked the easy ones. I'm just kidding. No, Chris, you mentioned Jaws and with Jason, and it's iconic. But I just want to kind of go into another deep take on just how important sound is in a horror movie, because I gotta apologize because I didn't see the film The Quiet Place. I wanted to, I just never got around to it. I actually thought about going and just jumping into the part 2 and watching it at the theater, because I had a free minute to do something this weekend, but I didn't do it. I just want, maybe I'll just watch part 2. But I think sound is, like I spoke earlier about the weather being a character in its own movie, but the sound, not the music, but the sounds are its own characters in movies. And one that really just, and everybody knows this, is Freddy Krueger's that screeching sound, right, with the nails or whatever in the boiler room. That is an iconic sound, and if you hear it as horror fans, if you hear that in anywhere, you think of Freddy Krueger, and it's embedded into your programming. I think that it's such an underappreciated vital role in horror films. You need to have great sound, and it plays a part of the scare, part of the ambience, whatever it is, whether it's heavy breathing or somebody crackling in the woods as they walk on the terrain there, or the simple, if you're swimming in an ocean and you're in the water, and you can just tell there's nothing there underneath you, but there is something there because you can't see it, doesn't mean it's not there. Sound quality is huge, and if the actor in front of the screen can pull it off, then if it bring it all together, it's magic. It is magic, and I love it. So that's a really good conversation, horror, that you brought up there. But I think it's very important to have, and you have to make sure that the actors in the film are pulling it off to make it a successful scene or a movie in this case, right? But good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's important, and you guys bring up terrific examples of it. But my point here is just, let's meet the challenge. We have a challenge out there. Let's see some more horror movies where maybe change it up with the sound, do something different with the sound. Quiet Place does something different here, where they turn it off completely at different points and turn it back on. You don't know, when it goes off, is it going to come back on, or what's happening? They make you pay attention. They make you use different senses here. So yeah, over the course of history, and sound is important in movies in general. But let's play with it a little bit. Let's get a little creative. Turn it on, turn it off. Let's do different things. Don't do the same old things always. And it doesn't have to be for every movie. But here and there, we talk about remakes and all this nonsense and going on and on. Well, here's another different angle. Let's try to make maybe some movies that are familiar to us and do something different sound wise and music wise, or either way. We can talk about the difference there. That's just another conversation for another day. So yeah, with that, I'll just jump into the news. Just a few items real quick. I'm not sure if I mentioned this before. but Slumber Party Massacre is being reimagined, and Chris pops up, and I guess they just released the first image of that. So I wanted to make sure, if in case I didn't, that I do, because Chris can get ready for that, because I know he's going to be the first to see that. Something we all want more of, and that's Victor Crowley. And you can get that in the form of a one-shot comic book now. That was just released, so we can get more Victor Crowley. Because I don't know if we're going to see him under the movie anytime soon. We also want more Alien. So it looks like the TV series from FX/Hulu is going to be in the works, and doesn't look like it's going to be surrounding Ripley, which is okay. I guess that was, kind of a debated issue. I'm okay with that. Let's, maybe do something a little different, a different angle. And it's apparently going to take place here on Earth. So that's also going to be different. I guess they wanted to open it up a little bit. So we'll see what they do there. It could be an epic fail, or it can be a pleasant surprise. Something I didn't see, but I guess a lot of people did, is Lovecraft Country season 1. I unfortunately missed that, but no big deal there, because there's not going to be a second season. It's always sad to see when something doesn't make it to another season, but it's not happening. We've seen some more animation coming this way. We recently saw Hotel Transylvania have a trailer and some posters out. Now it looks like the Addams Family's posters have been released, and we should expect a trailer, I believe, tomorrow. So if you like that animated kind of comedy horror, here it comes. And I believe those movies will be out later this year. Elvira, somebody else we also love seeing. Elvira's Haunted Hills Collector's Edition will be coming to Blu-ray, and that is going to be on September 28th. And I know there's also a huge Halloween re-release of, I believe it's 1 through 4 on DVD, Blu-ray. We just can't get enough. They're releasing everything these days, and it's just on and on and on. I don't know who's collecting these things. I just don't. And then the Horror Collective. They have 3 films coming to Shudder in July, in the form of Rot, Mass Hysteria, and the Etheria Film Festival. And I guess they're going to pick some shorts from seasons 1 through 6 and throw them on Shudder. The only one I've seen so far from that is Mass Hysteria. And it's kind of a comedy spin on witches. Not too bad. It's worth a watch. And speaking of that, my recommendations this week are 2 movies that are, I would call them kind of indie horror-ish. Too Late and Re-Elected, which was perfect for the 4th of July weekend. So just 2 maybe movies that you haven't heard of. I'm not going to get into much details. But I guess they'll be either out already on streaming services soon, so you can catch that. As I'm trying to find movies in different places, but those are 2 maybe lesser known movies that you want to check out. And that's it.
Awesome stuff as always. I thought I heard something about Slumber Party Massacre. I maybe I saw you post something. I don't know, but. Good stuff as always. I'm really curious to see what Chris has to say about our feature movie Lilith. So let's get into the creature feature of the week with Chris, the creature Zisi.
Hey, I really, really like this movie, and I got to make a confession. And I told Esposito this, the director, and you'll see that in just a minute. When Ken first sends me the screener for Lilith, I'm saying, oh, great. Because I know the discussion about Lilith, and I'm sick of it. I do not want to hear about this was Adam's first wife in the Bible, and he just didn't like to be talked over, so he threw her out, and Lilith is really the first feminist. I'm done. I don't want to see a Me Too movement. I don't want to see a movie with the message about feminism. I think over the past 15 or 18 months, a lot of us are just really, really, really sick about messages coming our way. We want fun. And from the first minute of this film, it was obvious that this was not going to be that. This was fun. This was enjoyable. This was, I don't know if you want to say light and frothy, but it had that feel to it in the context of a vicious horror movie. And as comedic as some of the scenes are, we're really going to be watching a vicious horror movie in Lilith. Jenna is a character we all sort of glob onto, and you're going to see her, Nell Kessler, in just a minute. A beautiful young lady, and she's so sweet. And you're wondering how a boyfriend could cheat on her. How could Hugh Grant cheat on, what was her name? Hurley. But they did. And she's very emotional. They've been going out since high school, 5-year relationship. They're in college now. And she's very, very hurt. As you can imagine, those of you who have had daughters, Ken, you're going to experience this in about 11 more years. And you're probably going to kill the guy. But it's very, very emotional when your first boyfriend, the one you probably think you're going to marry, is just off. He either says, no, I'm done, cheats on you, you catch him cheating on you, and you can imagine Jenna, however sweet she is, she's talking out of emotion. And she sort of realizes she's talking out of emotion. And we meet Jenna's buddies, and this is the strength of the movie. There's a clique here, a clique of buddies, and I don't know if you want to call them nerds, but they have that quality to them. They're all very smart. They all got a history together. One of them starts a sentence, the other one carries it out. And so they all sort of know what she's thinking, and they all sort of grieve with her because it hurts them to see her hurting. But there's always one in a group. And Emma is that one. Emma is played by Robin Passat. Robin Carolyn Passat. Wonderful character. Emma's the type of gal who you probably need to ignore most of the time because, okay, you want a solution? She's got one. Conjure up her demon and take care of this once and for all. Always a great idea. Always works out well. We've all seen enough movies to know this doesn't work out well. But Jen is going through something that she's never gone through. It's hitting her hard. She's probably not eating. She's probably not sleeping. She's angry. She's crying. She's grieving. And she has friends who she's giving a lot of deference to because she realizes her friendships right now are her salvation. And she gives in. And guess what? A demon is conjured up in the form of Savannah Witten. Lovely redhead. She is... however lovely she is, she's got another side to her. You'll see that other side. The green scaly skin, the horn things. Oh, you'll see it. Don't worry, you'll see that. She's conjured, and she's just a bubbly college kid on the college campus. And she's talking just like everybody else. And she's more of a ditzy co-ed than she is a demon. She's sort of a ditzy co-ed who's got to sort of do her demon thing. But she wants to make friends. She wants to be accepted. She wants to please people. And when she doesn't, she's hurt. And this is kind of interesting that she's just giving everybody what she wants. She's not the bad guy in this movie, even though she's been conjured up from hell. But she just wants to please. How many of us are like that? How many times have you thought you were doing something good and you got scolded for it and you start pouting? And this is what happens in this movie because Lilith comes and we're warned right away by a lovely actress who plays Kim. I think it's Lily Telford. She says, you know something? I did this once. And they do what they're supposed to do. And then they keep doing things and it's bad. It's bad. And you go out of your way to try to get rid of it. Not easy to get rid of. You don't want to go down this path. Of course, everybody ignores the voice of reason. Who amongst us has never ignored the voice of reason? And they're college kids. They're still children. And they're not 25 yet. Do you know what it means not to be 25 years old? It means your brain has not fully developed yet. You are not an adult. Society tells you you are. You are not. Your brain has not fully developed yet. So get that through your heads, youngsters out there. I think everybody here but Muse is over 25. But the Jenna's got a problem because this Lilith is quite gory in her methods. Seduction and then gore. The orgasm, little death. The orgasm she imparts on the boyfriend is not a little death. It's a blood-curdling, bloody, vicious death. And there'll be blood all over the place. And there's a theme here. Lilith enjoys what she does. You got to give her credit. She didn't volunteer for it. She was summoned. Can't say she's the bad guy, but she likes it so much she goes out on the town. And when you're near a college campus, you can find this stuff. You can find probably what do we know about college boys? Pigs, all of them, no exception. Take this from a father who has a 22-year-old daughter. Ken, you'll be there in another 11 or 12 years, believe me. And so men are dying horribly. But you know something? When a demon gets going, they say, well, I might be here for the woman, or I might be here. The succubus might be here to kill men, but killing in general is just kind of a lot of fun. And these things spiral and get out of control, and then nobody is safe, including Jenna and her buddies. The carnage is going to be quite gory. The satanic rite that brings Lilith to us is going to be quite imaginative. Some of the victims aren't bad guys. I'm thinking of the professor. You guys know what I'm talking about. They didn't need to be killed, except for the fact that this demon from hell likes to kill. Imagine that. And we see something spiraling out of control, and to fix it, it's not going to be easy, and it's probably going to be bloody. And I won't give you any spoilers, but yes, it will. This movie will make you wince. Now, as ominous as I'm making this movie sound, it's just a delightful time when you see these five friends together talking like you might be talking with your buddies, and it's kind of wonderful to see these wonderful relationships these kids have. And then you're sort of sad realizing that some of them are going to die horribly. Lilith is a terrifically acted, terrifically directed movie. Savannah Witten turns in a performance that just captures the screen. She's got something, and you're going to see her in the first microsecond you see her walk through campus. This is the one the movie's about. She's got that look. She exudes it. And Jenna is the sweet, good guy. You're going to fall in love with her. And when her boyfriend dies, you're going to say, good, because he did that to this sweet girl. But there's a very, very, very important scene in this movie, and it is the final sentence uttered in this movie. We don't talk about during the interview. Mentioning that could have been considered a spoiler. But stay with it till the final credits, because we got to remember who these kids are. And however much we want to be taken by them, there is the final sentence really hammers it home. And you will see that, but stay with it till that final sentence. Don't start sitting back and reaching for a Stella. And for what it's worth, light and frothy, ominous and horrific, you could go both ways on that, or just mix them all together. Lilith is a wonderful, fun film, and it is a horror movie, perhaps some comedic elements, but definitely more horror than comedy. And that's my review of Lilith.
All right. That being said, let's jump into our interview. We'll be right back, everybody. All right, let's bring it on home, guys. Good stuff. Hold on one second. That was a delightful interview. Those ladies were great. Lee is a very lucky man, and it sounds like they have a really close bond together. It sounds like they're working on other projects. So good stuff. Make sure you guys check out that movie. It comes out on the 9th, and looks like you can stream it anywhere. Anyway, that being said, let's get into our shout outs and whatnot. Chris, what do you got for us today?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of shout outs. My buddy in Paris, France, Emily, has her company, Creators Unite, has put out another book. It's I guess you could say it's more of an art book, or maybe a bit of an essay, but mostly an art book of a lot of the artwork that has appeared in books. 4 of them are mine from Creators Unite. If you like more than slightly erotic, more than shocking, frivolous fun. Check out Shock Candy from Creators Unite. It's mostly a picture book, but there's a lot of writing in it that might explain some of the photos or drawings.
Right on. Shout out to Emily and Creators Unite magazine. HorrO, what do you got for us this week?
Well, first and foremost, the chat believes Dexter needs a hug, so I'm gonna give him a light hug over here.
Oh my
I don't know.
God.
They love Dexter, so I know you're not gonna hug him, so
Oh.
someone has to. So that is for the chat and for Luna specifically, who requested me do this. That's as close as we're gonna get here. Besides that, just to let you guys not a shout out, but I've noticed over the last couple of days some of the haunted house attractions have announced that they're going to be opening back up in some form, in some way. So be on the lookout for those. And some of them are hiring. So if that's something you guys have wanted to do, I know it might be a little weird. Still, some of us are still living in a COVID world, so that might not be the best for you, or maybe that's for you, or you don't care, whatever. But some of them are hiring. So I tend to share that kind of information on Facebook. So if you're following the Promote Horror Facebook page and you're interested, look for it there. And as we get closer to Halloween, I always try to keep everybody informed on the events that will be happening. So just some interesting information out there on top of everything else. Also, a get well to Andrew Gower from the Monster Squad. You guys mentioned Monster Squad earlier. Apparently, he suffered a heart attack over the weekend, and yeah, and I guess they have a GoFundMe started for him. So, if you can support that, I don't have a link for anybody out there, but if you're a fan of the Monster Squad and Andrew, I got to spend some time with him once at a festival. He's a really cool dude. So I wish him well. Hopefully he gets well and recovers from that. Apparently it's a pretty bad heart attack that he had. And with that, love horror, love the horror community, and spread the horror as always.
All right, lady, what do you got for us this week?
All right. Well, I got to shout out Harrison Smith's movie, The Special, this week. I just watched it last night. I made Jamie watch it with me. It was fun. I insisted that he watch it with me, and I was so glad I did, because watching him squirm was absolutely priceless. But he loved it. I loved it. And I know it is streaming on Tubi and a lot of places now. And Ren, I'm going to own this one. I plan on making him watch it many more times. I told him if he comes in with any strange boxes, I'm all over him. That's all I got to say. I'm not going to ruin anything there. You got to check this one out, guys. This is one hell of a ride, and the practical effects are excellent. So I would definitely recommend this one. You guys got to check this out. We love Harrison here, and this is definitely one of those must-see movies. He's got so many great ones, but I watching this the other night was so much fun. So I cannot recommend this movie enough. So much fun. So yeah, and definitely thoughts and prayers going out to Andrew for that. That is not cool, man. I'm going to be praying for him. So definitely, yeah, spread the horror, just like HorrO said. And that's it for me this week.
Can we get the special version of your husband watching the special? Is there a hunky boy?
Yeah.
Is there a hunky boy version of him watching that movie? I just Dexter wants to know.
He goes, what? He goes, you are just, I remember him turning to me several times going, you were enjoying this way too much. And I was like, you're damn right.
I knew it.
That's great. Well, yeah, listen, great show tonight, guys. As always, you guys just kill it. I love the conversations that we've had on each of your segments. And just a shout out to the usual suspects there in the chat room. We love you guys. You guys are the lifeblood of this show. Listen, if you're listening to the podcast and you watch this YouTube between this week here, we got episode number 100 coming up next week. And we have really big news to announce. And just tune in. Okay, it's going to be awesome. We're going to have a really big panel of guests on. And thank you so much for listening. Share the show, talk about the show. And we look forward to the next episode. Till then, keep it scary, my friends.